There we go. And well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. Hot diggity dog, we finally made it. And there, I'm getting my background set up. I forgot I got to turn on my lights.
Yeah, lights are good, Robert.
Yeah, look at that. I got this holiday festivus background, like it's all good. Some people got snow, and look at you got like a candy cane on.
I got candy canes of love. I love you guys. I wear my love candy cane. My girlfriend got me these pajamas for Christmas. We had matching pajamas.
Nice.
I was like, yay! Then we went and hung out at my mom's.
Nice.
Yeah, it was mellow, relaxing day. It was nice.
Oh yeah, I worked all day today. I spoiled myself. I didn't do much and stayed in the house. I made myself a big bowl of pudding and a pizza, something I normally don't do. So there you go. That was my Christmas. David, what'd you do for your Christmas?
I've been cutting firewood. Greetings and blessings, everybody, the day after Christmas.
Yes.
And hope that you had a good day. I was quiet around here. Me and Duggar, we've been collecting firewood because, you know, it's been down in the 20s here in South Georgia, and we're just not quite used to that. And plus, it rained about 2 inches, so some of the firewood that I had, you know, it was wet and damp and yucky. So we've been, you know, getting ready and staying warm, kind of thing.
Nice. I didn't realize it gets that cold there. What's the temperature?
We just had a cold front to swoop way down south, and you know, I was talking with a friend of mine who was just here. That he was kind enough. They brought me. I talked about his kids on Thanksgiving. This is a nice little note, and they knew that he was coming over here to bring me Christmas dinner. They invited me over, and I was like, I really need to cut this firewood. But with that said, though, having played with his young children in the yard, they made me these little Christmas cards, right?
Oh, yeah.
And sent them. And so this one says, I love you. And so Rob said that she asked, how do I spell this? But she's 4 years old, but she wrote it out. And so there's another little picture she did from Whitley. And it shows, it's hard to see, but anyway, I just think this is so cute. There's a little dog over here, and it's me, and this is her and her little sister, and we got the Frisbee because I was over there playing Frisbee. So it's like sometimes the most warmest things come from, you know, and he just came over and brought me a plate and said, here, my daughters wanted you to have these Christmas cards.
That's so sweet.
See, now that's what Christmas is about.
Absolutely.
You know,
yeah,
sharing, being together. I mean, you know, forget the whole religious thing, but it's about, you know, the kids and sharing and just you know, the socialization with people, right? Especially the kids. It's with the kids. It's kind of teaching them, you know, good things come out of it. And that's what we're all built upon. If we didn't have the good beginnings, you know, where would we end up?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I don't know a whole lot about kids. I mean, you know, that way, you know, and kids. Trina, you would know way more.
One of the most favorite things my kids loved to do on Christmas was we used to build gingerbread houses.
Mm-hmm.
They loved to do that. So every year for Christmas, for many, many years, we would buy the gingerbread house kits and we would all sit together and make gingerbread houses. And that was a really kind of a cool little tradition. Kids love to build stuff and get their hands and frosting. And, you know, it's just fun.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we got a good crowd coming in. I want to say hi to everybody. Oh my, we got a bunch. We got David Castle, and Sarah Horton, Peter Meteor. Thanks for coming on the other night. Great to see you. Hello, Lucky Stone, who broke the ice of being live.
Yeah.
And he did a great job. Besides that, I would just want to say, if I have any computer problems tonight, stay on the line, and I will be back in a moment because I don't know why the other day I was having all those problems. It just shut off. I have no idea. but thanks to Lucky, he kept things going and picked up the conversation where I kind of dropped off. He was driving the bus.
Right.
So I want to shout out to him a big thank you.
Yes.
We got Chloe's in the house. We got Deborah Sloan. We got I said, oh, we got Brenda. Milky's mom is in the house. She says, howdy.
Mom.
We have, oh boy, here we got to go back to the top.
I see
Jules.
Darth. Hi, Darth.
Oh, and Jules. Yeah, I was going way up the top. Yeah. And Darth is in the house. Hey, Darth, how you doing? Yeah. He's saying he was working nights. I haven't seen him much around. So, you know, when you can, Darth, you know, you're going to have to come on and let me know if you're able to come on. You got Christmas off. Maybe I'll have you on during New Year's or something. That'd be good. Haven't seen you in a while. Darth says he's practicing on his, he sent me an email, said he's doing some learning on how to read the cards, a class on card reading. So anyway, let's see. I think that's all it is, but I'm sure everybody's going to be dropping in more. David, you're going to read a card tonight. But before you read the card, we were talking about this, you were talking about the Indian dancing and all of that and everything. And so me and David are going to do a short series coming up. Awesome. And we're gonna read out of this book, Native American Indian Myths and Legends. Yay! He's got the book. All right. And in there's tons of little short stories. You know, from the white, I'll just spin through these. Let's go to the thing. I mean, you know, these come from all over the place. It tells you which group of Indians, the Rabbit Boy from White River Sioux, Blood Clot from the Southern Ute, Corn Mother from the Penobscot. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. We got Cheyenne, we got the Navajo, we got the Blood Pelican, the Pimpa, the Blackfoot, you know, and it just goes on all the Crow, the Apache. I mean, it just goes through all these different stories, and they're short, so we should be able to do a couple, maybe 2-3 a night. And we're going to do a whole section out. Now, if you want to know what book this is, I'll hold it up again. It is Native American Myths and Legends. It's by Richard Eridos and Alfonso Ortwitz. You can see it better. There you go. You got that? That's the book. Okay, if you want to buy it, I seen it. I bought mine off of eBay. They're like $30 or so. And it's a nice hardcover one too. They're really nice if you want to follow along. Otherwise, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna find which stories we're gonna read. Pick them out ahead of time, and I'm gonna type them up, and then so we can read them off the screen, and then that way we'll have something to follow along. Now, if you want those stories after we read them, you'll have to email me, and then I will send you those stories. One by one. So if you like that and you want to read it over or read it to yourself or your kids or something, or put them all together and make yourself your own little book later of what we read, or you can just go out and buy your own book. Now I'm also saying, if anybody out there is part Indian or they are really into the Indian stuff, they know about somebody who would like to come on with Indian heritage, would be really good if they got their book and could come on and do some story reading with us. So I'm putting that shout out there. I don't know who is or who would like to, but I'm giving that open invitation. Is that good? Right? So that's my thing.
All right.
And yes,
my
David?
addendum, if you don't mind,
yes.
Is that I have had the privilege of knowing a legend keeper from the Alaskan tribe, the Tlingit, out there in southern Alaska along the coast there. a legend is like history to the native peoples. So what a legend means to the white clan, if you will, is, oh, that's just a story. That's not true. And as a legend keeper, he was one of 12, and they had two people behind those 12 legend keepers. So, and everything was oral. They could write it down for themselves, but they couldn't show it to anybody. They couldn't record it. I mean, it was a, they're serious about the legends
Okay.
versus a story. So I just want to put that out there. And a
Mhm.
myth is somewhere in between.
You know, when I went to the, I got invited to the third Mesa on the Hopi reservation. And the one that actually took us, he was the tribal storyteller. And that was his actual title, he was storyteller, which was a huge responsibility in that tribe. So
Yes.
it's a potent thing because they have to learn all of the history, and they have to be the ones who can translate the oral traditions, histories, all of it to the entire next generations. So yeah, he was in training and had just become the actual storyteller for the Hopis. Yeah.
Wow. Now it'd be good to get him on. I'd love to have him on too, or somebody in, like that. I mean, we got,
Yeah, they
uh,
don't like that very much. They don't like pictures. They really don't like to be on camera, and they're just now starting to disclose a lot about what they know about these ancient prophecies written on like Prophecy Rock and some of their other sacred places. Yeah.
yeah, I noticed that. That's why it makes it really hard. I mean, I live in North Dakota
Yes.
and there's tons of Indians here. I
Yes.
mean, and meeting one and having them on to talk about stuff, it's kind of hard. I mean, so like I said, that's why I'm putting the word out.
Yeah.
There's got to be somebody out there besides,
Like I said, there's only certain people within the tribe that literally have permission to
yeah,
share this
yeah,
information, and they keep it between themselves pretty tightly. But there's times in history where they're supposed to talk about some of the things that they know, and I think that this is one of those times. So they're
yeah,
starting to talk about their different prophecies and the wisdom that they've known.
yeah, yeah. I've been reading about. I got a bunch of books on mountain men, and I've been reading about them and how they, uh, you know, uh, cozied up by. How could I put this? They cozied up to the Indians to learn their ways when they first went out there to be trappers and
Yep.
hunters and explorers. And as they went, they literally, nobody knew their languages, and they went out there and they had the Indians could, they kind of weaseled them out, if you were a good person or a bad person. And if you had showed loyalty and honesty and everything like that, they knew that. And of course, like it says, they buddied up with you, and then they told you all kinds of stuff. But if they didn't, you were kind of cast out, and you better go home. or
Yeah.
literally they kill you.
Yeah.
It's one or the other. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. But yeah, I'm learning a lot from some of those books, and it just tells you how tough those guys were, and how if you weren't good, you had a mark on you that no, they wanted to get rid of you.
Yeah, I know a little bit about one of their beautiful sacred stories, and like I said, I don't know all of it, but I've heard parts of it, and it was about the corn and
Mhm.
about the arrival of basically a Jesus being, a blonde, white, blue-eyed man who came to the reservation, and he also went to the other four corners of the world and gave he gave us a stone tablet to each one of these tribes, and each one was to choose a corn. And the
Mhm.
Hopis chose the smallest corn, and it was a multicolored small corn. And because they had chosen that, they got a specific tablet associated with that corn. And that is a lot of the sacred legends and teachings that they are now starting to give little bits about. And it's beautiful how we all received different corn from a Christed being
Mhm.
master. And it talked about the path of humanity, the materialistic
Mhm.
world versus the ones who would be the ones who would honor and care for the earth and care for its ways, and that they would, kind of matches the Bible. In the end, the meek shall inherit the earth. And I think we're getting close to that, looking at the outcome of those prophecies very soon.
Well, speaking of the corn, I did a little study on the corn one day, and they literally said that, the way the corn is, to get it from what it, the raw plant where it would have normally come from, to actually harvesting it and making corn that we kind of know today. It probably, it wasn't as big or whatever, but it genetically doing that would be almost impossible. They said that these Indian people just didn't have the technology to, breed the plants and do all that stuff to make it into a product. They literally had to be handed this, genetically a hybrid seed to make, and then said, here's the corn, now go grow it. And I read this off of some science journals that the guy said, for them to do that, it just doesn't make any sense. They would have had to have, a
What's
lot
even
of
weirder, Robert?
Yes.
They say genetically, our genetics are very closely matched with corn.
Yeah. Did you know they grow like diseases and things in a corn? Like they can grow things in corn.
Yeah.
I was
it was so awesome when I was on the third mesa. These people don't have a lot. They're in the ancient dwellings that they claim that those dwellings that they're in are over 6,000 years old. That's what they claim, the actual Hopis themselves. That's what they say. They say they are well over 6,000 years old. And it was amazing too, because there's a tradition. The grandmother always has an eagle perched upon her house. And they still hold that tradition there, which was amazing to see that. And then they also they were roasting corn, and they actually offered us their ancient corn, which is only specific to that nation. And they actually let us sit down and eat the roasted corn with them. And it was quite an honor to do all that with them on that mesa. And they hadn't let anybody up there in 60 years. So we were like the first group to come through in 60 years to the third mesa. So it was a very special thing.
That is very, very neat. Yeah. I mean, that's like one of those things you only get to experience once in a lifetime kind of deal.
And I don't know why, Robert, I got surrounded by the children. I told you I have this thing with kids, and I got surrounded by these Hopi children. And there were these 3 little girls, and they came up to me, and they all were asking me questions, and I was answering. And then I asked them, I says, "What are your names?" And they told me their American names. I said, "No, what is your real name?" And then they looked at me and they said, "You know that we have real names?" And I said, "Of course I do." And they started laughing. And the first one to speak up, she's like, "I'm Screaming Child." And I just loved it. I was loving it because she was so bold and so strong. And she was like, "I'm Screaming Child." I was like, wow. Yeah. And they all told me their sacred native names. It was an amazing thing.
Nice. I see. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, because it's nice to know that some of them are actually being brought up as, still like
These
in the
kids have
Indian
never
way.
left the mesa. They've never left the mesa. Yeah.
Instead of being tossed out into our culture garbage society that we have. I should say.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is. I feel sometimes the more I learn, the more I feel that way. Oh man. So
right.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I was doing a Hunger Games marathon, trying to finish up the whole series today. So I was finishing that up. I'm on the last movie today. And It was so, what was really ironic, and I hate to say this, but I got to tell you this because this is such a coincidence. And how I'm in tune when I'm getting ready for the show, I am so channeling Brian.
Yes.
And I'll tell you how coincidental this is. Today, I'm doing the Hunger Games marathon, right? And when I'm putting together the little video of Brian, as I always do for the trailer, the one video I pick out, he's talking about watching the Hunger Games for the first time.
That's weird.
Now,
Wow.
how coincidental is that? I just, I'm going through the thing on the, little icons.
Robert, that's a pretty strong message to let you know that he's totally connecting to you. That's major confirmation. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I really know.
Awesome. I know. And I clicked on that and I'm listening to it, him and Brian, yeah. And I'm just like, I can't believe this. I just can't believe this. And amazing. So I put that in the video, and then I'm thinking I need somebody to read a card for tonight. And I'm thinking, believe it or not, I was going to try to get Nina on, Nina the Mystic. I was going to start emailing her and trying to get her on. I'm thinking, oh, she's off. She probably will have time. And oh, look, we got Kent Nichols in the house.
Hi, Kent. I saw Kent. Hi, Kent. So good to see you.
I sent you a link, Kent. You can come on. I know I sent him a link. If he wants, he can come on. Anyway,
right on.
And so when I did that, and then I started right. I actually had the email all wrote out, and then some little voice in my head said, "No, you need to get David. David Null. Call David Null." So I called him up, and not just text or email him.
Yep.
It said, call him.
Yep.
Well, I'm sitting at my computer and I'm listening to this in my head and it says, call him. I call him up and he says, oh, I would have never got it. My computer's been off for days.
See, that's so awesome. You're totally tuning in, Robert. Wow, your antenna is on.
I couldn't believe that. And so with that, as everybody flows in, I see we got Deborah Truex is in.
And Deborah.
And we got Elsie Darling that came in, and Delaney Pearl Jones. And she says, it's no coincidence.
Right.
I seen she had some videos up where she was talking to Jeffrey Dartrey and his thing. And I tell you what, I watch his show too. So Delaney, good job for you. He's pretty cruel on people, but by gosh, he just loves you. He gets on there and he says, guess who's calling? He knows who it is. Anyway, Kent, he says, I'm traveling right now, but next week. Okay, Kent. Right you always have an open invitation here, Kent. No worries.
Even if you can't, we'd love to see you.
Yes, it's nice to, do. But with that, David, have you picked a good card for us tonight that's going to set us into this new year that we're looking for? We're done with the Christmas stuff and we're looking on to the new year. And that's what my thoughts of the day. When I sat down, I had no idea what to write. And then all of a sudden in my head pops this thing and it said afterthoughts of a holiday. And because I sat there for 2 days now, I've been thinking, what am I going to talk about on Saturday? Because, we just did the holiday. This is, so anyway, I got some things about Christmas we're going to talk about tonight and some things about the new year, traditions and old things and stuff like that. But David, what does your cards tell us that we have in store for us for this new year coming?
Well, hi, everybody, again, for those of you who just showed up again, and greetings and blessings. Something that I wanted to bring up, as Trina had talked about being on the Hopi Reservation, living down here in the South where there are a lot of Creek Indians, the Muskogee Creek, which is sort of like the Southern Cherokee and the Northern Seminole, but anyway, there aren't these great mounds or places or anything that can be seen. Now, there is a large Indian mound over on the almost all the Alabama, Georgia, in Georgia, called Kolomoki Mounds. And that's it's a pretty large size Indian mound, and have seen and witnessed some strange things around there, by the way. But as far as what's out west and in different areas of the country, the folks that I have met as I'm listening to Trina, them folks have stayed put. But the people I've met have been like on the powwow circuit and have roots like in South Dakota on Pine Ridge. I knew quite a few people that was their winter quarters, so to speak, and quite a few Lakota. But a lot of folks who had been out west, but were just Eastern tribes, the Iroquois, the Cherokee, the Blackfoot, the Seminole, and so their heritage and their stories may be similar, but not etched in stone as was done out west. If you follow my drift, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with that, as not necessarily nomads, because I lived like 2 miles from the house is what they call the Thigpen Trail. And it's an old traditional trail that goes all the way up into Connecticut or something. But it goes, and it's geologically, it's right on a ridge. And if you follow it, it goes all the way down into Panacea area down there in the panhandle of Florida. And there's a reason for telling this story, but they would migrate, the Cherokee would migrate. The young folks would go south during the wintertime and catch fish in Florida and whatever they could, dry it and pack it back up to the folks who were too old to make the trip. So they were nomads in the sense that anywhere they went was their home. But at the same time, they did have a birthplace, if you will, But as far as staying home on the reservation, they didn't really do that. There was a lot of migration, as it were, which I just, in listening to Eastern versus Western, I find that an interesting point of, from my point of view, living over here, but learning a lot about native traditions from the Lakota, and then learning stuff about from the Cherokee, who are a little bit tight-lipped, I gotta say.
Yes.
Some of them folks are a little on the arrogant side, like, show me your papers. Like, anyway, it's gotten better.
Yeah.
But I think the people that I met on the powwow trails were more adept at being able to speak to different cultures, like white man, the black man. And like down here, it's amazing how many black heritage people also have rich Native American backgrounds. So it isn't that our bloods are so mixed, like I'm probably more Cherokee than white, okay, than being from France. And I don't parlez-vous français, but so in this, I think there are more people who have this native spark in them.
Yeah.
It maybe have dwindled down over the years, but somehow people find the outside, they find certain things that relate more to them in some kind of natural way versus a religious way. Although, talk to any Native American, they're very spiritual. So, but anyway, I thought I'd throw that little bit of tidbit in. They wouldn't let me just pick one card, but I'm going to make them short.
Right on.
One of the things that I pulled this card before, and it showed up twice after I was shuffling the deck, and it's snake. And the biggest thing about snake is, in order for us to go into anything new, we have to shed the old. So right now is a good time for you to think about nothing more than, not about venom or snake or that. Yeah, it's about shedding our skins from what this last year has been to many of us. And we just, regardless of what's coming ahead of us, we got to get rid of this old and at least try something new. Okay. The other is buffalo, and buffalo is the sacred. And but they said that number 10, turtle, was more important, and also mountain lion. So and they've asked me to read the turtle one first, and you're going to love this one. Turtle, Mother Earth. Turtle, great mother, feed my spirit, clothe my heart, that I may serve you too. In Native American teachings, turtle is the oldest symbol for planet Earth. It is the personification of goddess energy and the eternal mother from which our lives evolve. We are born of the womb of the earth. We are asked by turtle to be mindful of the cycle of give and take, to give back to the mother as she has given to us. Turtle has a shell which is similar to the protection that Earth has employed for centuries as her body has been defiled. Mother Earth's protection has come in the form of earth changes. Now, this book was written like 30 years ago, just want to say.
Yep.
In the form of earth changes, new plant growth, creation of new land masses by volcanoes, and climate alterations. Like turtle, you also have shields that protect you from hurt, envy, jealousy, and the unconsciousness of others. I find that interesting. The unconsciousness of others, like them unwoke people.
Yep.
Turtle teaches you through its habit patterns how to use protection. If you are bothered by the action or words of others, it is time to go inside yourself and honor your feelings. If you are attacked, it is time to give a warning snap. If you have chosen the turtle symbol, you are being asked to honor the creative source within you, to be grounded to the earth, and to observe your situation with motherly compassion. Use the water and earth energies, which represents turtle's two homes, to flow harmoniously with your situation and to place your feet firmly on the ground in a power stance. Turtle is a fine teacher of the art of grounding. You may even be able to overcome some of your space cadet tendencies if you align with turtle medicine. In learning to ground, you are placing focus on your thoughts and actions and slowing to a pace that assures completion. Sometimes people just get in too much of a hurry. Turtle warns of the dangers of pushing the river, as evidenced by the plodding pace it keeps. The corn that is harvested, there's corn. The corn that is harvested before its time is not yet full. However, if it is given the chance to develop at its own rate, in its own season, its sweetness will be shared by all. Turtle buries its thoughts, like its eggs, in the sand and allows the sun to hatch the little ones. This teaches you to develop your ideas before bringing them out in the light. I'm going to repeat that one. This teaches you to develop your ideas before bringing them out into the light. Look at the old fable of the tortoise and the hare and decide for yourself whether or not you would like to align with turtle. Bigger and stronger and faster are not always the best way to a goal. When you arrive, you may be asked where you've been and you may not be able to remember. In that case, arriving prematurely can make you feel very immature. If you draw the turtle card, it augurs in a time of connecting with the power of earth and Mother Goddess within. This is the reminder of the ally you have in Mother Earth. It does not matter what situation you have created. Ask for assistance and abundance will follow. Now, that was that one. And the
Oh, it's
next
so
one
interesting.
they asked me to do was mountain lion.
So interesting, David, that you were
Go
talking
ahead.
about the turtle energy and like getting your feet on the ground and connecting to the earth. I've heard that message 3 times today. It's a very powerful thing. Like the earth is crying out, "My children, put your feet upon the earth," because those of you that are here now were called to be my anchors, to be my antenna. And it's interesting. This is talking about receiving and anchoring these energies into the earth. So, guys, I've heard this 3 times today from different channels about putting our feet on the earth and connecting to our mother because we're receiving energy and delivering it to her and vice
See,
versa. She's giving it to us as well. But
and
she's
see,
like saying, "Please, my children, hold the light."
and see that's kind of what I heard out of that. What I heard was, the same that same thing, but it's he's saying, I wrote down stuff as he wrote, and it says climate and earth changes for the woke and the unwoke, and move slower. Well, anyway, in that with all those earth changes, I'm just imagining in my head what the vision I'm getting is that if we're channeling this negative or fearful energy into the earth screaming out saying, say, I'm just going with me here on this. My children are in trouble. You need help. And what can the earth do? Climate change, earthquakes. Sure, I might have to get rid of some of you, by the swishing the waters around or a volcano. But in the end, I'm going to clear the smoke, and out of the ashes will rise the woke people, as you said, the ones with the feet firmly on the ground. There, and because the earth cleanses all. It always does. No matter what we do or what we build or what we put down on paper or stone, the earth can take it away in an instant through a flood or an earthquake or a volcano. Poof, and it's gone. Right?
Yeah.
So she's the original cleaner. She wants a clean house. Look out.
Yeah.
But also in this message is the message of use the water energy.
Yeah.
Because the turtle is of two worlds. It is of the land and of the water. And so, and I've learned in my lifetime that that's very sacred in and of itself. 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on the land is an interesting way to connect. But also in this grounding, when you go outside with barefoot, even though it's cold, go outside and put unless there's snow on the ground, and how brave you are. But allowing Mother Earth to know that you care. And it's so the giving is the sharing of our energies. And it's allowing Mother Earth to know, hey, I'm up here, I'm grounding, but I'm telling you because I'm grounding, I'm proving to you I mean what I say. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's your proof to her. And it doesn't matter about anybody else. It's you and her. It's you and the earth.
That's kind of the message I was getting, David, she was like saying, my children connect to me. I need to know who of my children are awoke. It was literally, that was kind of what it was feeling like, was please ground your energy. I need your support and I will support you. And through you doing these things, I know which of my children are awoken and can receive this energy and can help me to go through this transition. So it was like she was putting a call out to all of the children that were called here for this transition to help her change this, go through this transitional energy shifting. And she's like, put your feet on the ground for me, my kids. I need it. And I will give it back to you. So it was a beautiful energy that I was getting. But at 3 times, 3 different ways, my children, the ones who came here to work with the earth, please connect to me and put your feet on the ground. So I think that's for all of us to be still and just connect to the earth for just a little bit, for whatever reason.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay.
There was a tradition that I heard years ago, and I think it was through Cherokee and maybe, the Mississippians and so forth, but Eastern more than Western, in that in ceremony, if you're truly serious about the ceremony, then you would dance without moccasins.
Yes.
So the phrase dance without moccasins means that you respect Mother Earth enough to, to take your moccasins off, and to actually connect with her. But anyway, Mountain Lion is number 17 in the book, and it's leadership. Mountain Lion, O kingly leader of sleek feline form, touch my heart with courage, then sound the alarm, that I may lead with foresight, assurance bright and true, to carry on the spirit of the strength I see in you. Interesting little poem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mountain Lion can be a very difficult power totem for you to have because it places you in a position to be a target for the problems of others. You could be blamed for things going wrong or for always or for always taking charge when others cannot. You could become the perfect justification for the insecurity of others. Put the blame on me. Mountain Lion medicine involves lessons on the use of power in leadership. It is the ability to lead without insisting that others follow. It is the understanding that all beings are potential leaders in their own way. The use and abuse of power in a position of influence are part of this great cat's medicine. By observing the graceful pounce of mountain lion, you will learn how to balance your power, intention, physical strength, and grace. Now, this word grace has come up to me several times, by the way. This relates in human terms to the balance of body, mind, and spirit. The giant feline never wastes anything. It only kills what it needs for survival. The female lion is the hunter who graces her table in a style akin to mother energy. If mountain lion has come to you in dreams, it is time to stand on your convictions and lead yourself where your heart takes you. Others may choose to follow and lessons will multiply. If you have pulled the card of mountain lion, you may be asked to review the purpose behind your personal beliefs. You may be asked to review the purpose behind your personal beliefs. A lot of folks are in that right now. And
Yeah,
I think that's a powerful sentence right there.
I do
You
too.
need to discover whether or not your plans include a pride of tweet, a pride of cubs wanting to be like you or to share in your dreams. If you are already a leader, the question may be whether or not the time has come to push the cubs out of the cave. If you are aligning with the cat medicine, you are considered to be king of the mountain and never allowed to be human or vulnerable. The pitfalls are many, but the rewards are great. In assuming the place of power that mountain lion affords, you must constantly be aware of keeping peace. However you can never make However you can never makes everyone happy unless you lie to yourself or to others. This is human nature. Therefore, the first responsibility of leadership is to tell the truth. Know it and live it, and your example will filter down to the tiniest cub in the pride. Responsibility is no more than the ability to respond to any situation. Panic is not part of this sacred medicine. Now, this card happened to be upside down, so I must read the contrary part. If Mountain Lion card is reversed, you may be playing with fire. A leader who tries to lead through tyranny or dictatorship has forgotten the medicine of truth. Through the reversal of this medicine, you may be tricked into believing that nothing else has any validity except the ideas created by yourself. Watch out. Rome crumbled for this very reason. If this aspect of the contrary medicine does not apply to your situation, look at other messages which Mountain Lion brings in the reverse position. If you are avoiding taking your place of leadership, it could be because the whole idea scares you silly. This is a normal state of affairs for one who has never been a leader before. In this instance, it is necessary to call upon the courage of lion to begin by learning the lessons of the lion-hearted. Another message of Mountain Lion reversed is to not let yourself be led down the primrose path by a leader who is abusing power. If you want to put yourself on the road to being a leader in your own right, ask questions of anyone to whom you have given authority. See if they carry the medicine of Mountain Lion and whether you can grow into your own leadership by observing how they handle the task of setting examples. Become Mountain Lion by refusing to hide in the cave of your own shyness or uncertainty. Roar with conviction, roar with power, and remember to roar with the laughter to balance the medicine.
Love it.
That was powerful. I mean,
Yeah.
you kept going back and forth about, to sum it up, balance, because you were talking about lead, um, or here, let's see, the pitfalls are many and the rewards are great. Well, exactly. And if you're standing in the middle and you don't take chances with trying to, go down the pathway, you know, you're never going to get there if you just stay where you're at. You're always taking those chances, and without taking a chance, you're never moving forward. Same at the end. It's that you have to have that balance. And if you go too far one way, which a lot of people call karma, catches up with you. So if you're really doing a lot of bad stuff and you're, wow, this is great, I'm getting away with everything, eventually it's going to come and bite you in the butt. Because it's going to catch up with you. It's the balancing of the whole thing.
Right.
Just as the charity, we'll just talk about a little bit of charity. If you're doing, really well in life and you're not giving anything back, somehow that's going to come up as karma, as, you can label it anything you want, and it's going to balance itself out and literally take from you anyway. So, if you always wonder why these big rich guys that run these multi-million-dollar companies, even though they're doing horrible things, are always giving out tons of money to different organizations, and it's because they know that there's got to be balance there. And if they don't do the balance, it's going to come and bite them in the butt. Mm-hmm. Am I right?
Yeah.
And that's why they stay where they're at, because they give away a bunch to keep going forward. If we like it or not, that's the facts.
Now, this is what they're telling me as I sit here and look at these cards.
Yeah.
And I told you, and I didn't read the snake card, but I've summed it up very quickly. And that is the shedding of old things. Now, for me, doing the cards on this show and on my show, what it's telling me with the mountain lion, especially reversed, there are many folks out there who have started their own channels, that have started, doing their first thing. And see, that's telling me in so many words that you to call upon the courage of lion to begin by learning the lessons of the lion-hearted. Okay. So when we're a little chicken or a little too shy, and you may think that it's insignificant, but you never know until you try. Because I wouldn't have started my channel, and I never ask anybody to like or share. It's up to them. But like for Brian and all the discussions we had, on that, and now that Robert here has taken on the mantle and keeping the Soul Tribe together in that respect, that's leadership. But there are folks who are still kind of scared. Now, with that said, we're going into a new year. We're going into some new stuff, and none of us knows what's really going to happen. So I found this part of it to really sink true for what's coming for all of us. You can never make everybody happy unless you tell lies to other people. That this is human nature. The truth is the answer. Therefore, know it, live it, and your example will filter down to the tiniest cub in the pride. Responsibility is no more than the ability to respond to any situation. Panic is not part of the sacred medicine. And I think that there are a lot of folks here in the future, because of stuff, that they're going to be in a panic mode. And so for those of us who understand some of these things going into this, we have to have courage, because we're going to be, the reason we're all here, if you haven't figured it out, is to help calm down the rest of the population, is to keep them from having their brains fried. They know you, and you can say, hey, listen, calm down, it's okay. Well, but I've just learned a bunch of stuff and my brain's frying. Calm down, we are supposed, if you want to know what you're here for, that's what you're here for, at least part of it,
Yeah, it's another one of the ways I was feeling that message with hold the light. I need you to hold the light. It was that energy. Stay calm, stay focused, I need you to hold the light. So when things look dark, you need to be the positive. You need to be the one that's going to calm people down, ground the energy, receive inspiration. Yeah, it's so powerful. This is coming up. I wonder if something's coming that's going to knock people a little off balance, David.
Right. And the thing about turtle also is that, interesting about the water, but in the turtle goes inside its home, it carries its home wherever it goes. And so
That,
if
yeah.
somebody's throwing rocks at you, you just, go inside and wait till, you've got more patience than they do. So sticks and stones may break my bones, but, words will never harm me.
Mhm.
So I think sometimes even in this day and age, we need to remind people that in a calm manner, because things have just gotten out of control with being PC or not being PC. And it's just so ridiculous. But we have to be the bigger people. That's why I think Mountain Lion was here, in that there are some of us who are going to have to take a type of leadership. It may be just within your own pride. In other words, just your household, or maybe your relatives or family. Maybe it's in your neighborhood or your community. But that whatever is coming up, we're going to have to keep people, calm. We need to keep people calm.
I agree.
And be
I
the
agree.
lion. Yeah.
I agree. Well, it's just like doing this show. I mean, when I took over for, Brian, kind of, I mean, it was unexpected. It wasn't intended. I think he was trying to encourage me and everybody else to do our shows more.
Right.
Yes.
And what did we do? We all stepped up to the plate. Trina
Yeah.
started doing more. You started
Yeah.
Al started doing and he got you guys together with the Andromeda 7. Crystal, she's come out of her shell and bloomed like crazy. And
Out of her shell. Get it?
yeah, oh
Yes.
my,
Turtle.
yeah,
See,
and
that's
Laura,
exactly it. So
yeah,
I think the cards, I sat here and shuffled while, you all were talking earlier,
mm-hmm.
just like, okay, let me shuffle these cards, and what does the community need to hear? And to
Yes,
me, it's be positive. You can have the strength of the mountain lion. Call upon that. Think
mm-hmm.
about being lion-hearted and the strength in that.
Well,
And
well, was something in there that you said about mountain lion on the reverse side was that, if somebody is leading, ask questions to them. No hiding. Ask questions to your leaders about what they're doing and where they're leading you. And so much of that is not being done nowadays. Is the leaders say something, everybody goes, yeah, okay. Well, ask the question, why am I doing this? Why are you making me do this? I mean, is
yep,
there an answer? Not just, hey, because I said so. That's not an answer. Ask questions. If we all ask questions, maybe things would change a little bit, but we
And I
don't. We
think
just seem to
too,
take.
if we start looking at stop looking at all the reasons that we can come at each other, and we need to start looking at how we can literally commit to protecting each other.
Yeah.
right.
We need to get a commitment that no, if we don't think things are safe, we need to be able to protect each other. If there's
Absolutely.
things going on that we don't like, we need to come together so we can protect each other. This is what it's going to come down to.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord always said, "You would to me." He was like, "The things that I do, ye shall do in greater." But the greater is when you come together. We are
Mm-hmm.
so powerful in our numbers, guys. Our numbers are powerful. Just like your clip you did before the show, Robert, it was
Mm-hmm.
talking about the power of when we come together with a focused thought. And that when you have 10 to 12 people coming together with a problem, trying to find a solution, that you're literally having the entire realm of like creative forces at your disposal because they're all seeing it from different ways. And through
Yeah.
those differences, you come up with the ultimate best solutions to solve those problems. It's because you're coming together in unity of your mind. When
Yeah.
you bring 100 people together, it has the effect of 1,000. And when you bring like, oh no, it's much more than that. I think it's 100,000 because they're all exponential in their power. So
Yes.
when we come together with focused thought, guys, we are making a massive change or imprint into the brain of this creation process through our thoughts. So
Yes.
we've got to maybe work on really committing on how to protect this planet and how to protect each other and put that in kind of the forefront of our thoughts, actions, and deeds, is protecting the earth and protecting the children of it.
Well,
And remember this, you know, there are parts of the Bible that says, you know, we are put on this earth to be in dominion over it. Well, the older verses don't necessarily say that. The interpretation should have been, we are stewards of the planet.
Yeah.
And native cultures, not just in America, but native cultures understood that in their basic understanding that without Mother Earth, they'd be dead. And sometimes with Mother Earth, you know, depending on the clouds and stuff. But the idea, though, that their connection to the earth was important from the day they were born, you know. um, where white cultures have a tendency, you're born, you know, in a hospital, your little feet never touch the ground, you're wrapped in a blanket, you know, and so there's no connection to anything in that respect except the technology around your spirit. So, not putting one down or the other, but I mean, what used to be natural is now become unnatural. So, when we were born close to the earth, we felt it. And now that there's sort of a disassociation because we're born around technology, we miss out on the earth. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
yes.
Absolutely. You know, it's just like that's how those little Native American children receive their name, is because they're giving birth in the village on the mesa with the midwives. Their society, the highest position of the mesa is that of grandmother. Grandmother has the highest position. That's why the eagle is on her roof. So, yeah, they have a very different way of looking at life, and it is so much more sacred and so much more connected. And to be honest with you, this is probably one of the reasons that the earth has always said the third mesa will never be touched or destroyed through any cataclysms that she brings upon it, because they have never violated the original laws of honoring the earth.
Mhm. I agree. I agree. And
Yeah.
if we could all do that, things would be good, but we can't.
And right, I agree. And one of the things we have to understand, it was, you know, Anglo white folks are the ones that came over here and forced the Indians apart. And I have known many who their parents were, you know, forced into the Indian schools, and there's a lot of bad stuff that happened in those schools. Let me tell you,
Still bad stuff is happening. It's still
it's
happening.
happening everywhere.
Well,
But to
yeah.
the point though, they tried their best to kill their cultures, no matter what tribe it was from. They mixed the tribes. They beat them if they talked in their native languages,
Yeah.
and
They took
so
the children. They took most of the children away.
and split them up and did,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So they
So
couldn't learn the language, like you're saying, David. They'd lose those special things, and that was done. They were forced. I mean, they literally yanked their children out of their arms, took them into these schools.
you know, I've been, you know, I study quite a bit of this stuff too. And the only thing I can think of, you know, because you look at the history, and I love history. So I studied the history part of it a lot, right? And everything you're saying is absolutely true. They literally tried to wipe them off the face of the earth. They literally tried to breed them out of existence, take their children away, you know, cut their hair off, make them into little white people, you know, and integrate them into white man society, leaving them with no heritage or culture at all, right?
You know what's
Oh,
amazing? I just literally made this correlation. Do you know that
okay.
that is one of the only religions or societies left on the planet that actually still is worshiping the divine feminine?
Okay.
This is why
That
they've
this
tried
is
to
where
attack. Yeah.
this is where I was going with that. So So that's what we know from history part.
Yep.
But now that I know the other side part with the, spiritual part and the background of all these crazy secret society parts, my question to you two is, do you think that, because it's like the groups pitted against each other, like we all know that the kings and queens are of like this special bloodline. There's this elite bloodline that goes through, and they all try to stick together, and they all have some kind of crazy connection. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, so when they got over here and realized that, hey, they didn't, there is not two classes of people over here. They're all like that. We need to get rid of them. We need to get rid of what they stand for, because they know the secrets, maybe in a different form or way. And they have that magical bloodline, just like we do, that hasn't been touched, because over here we've already killed everybody off, and we've interbred, so we kind of know exactly who has that bloodline and who knows what, and we keep the divide between the peasants and the elite over here. Well, then we got the people coming over here, and all of a sudden they go, well, if we dilute the bloodline and we get rid of their myths and their legends and their rituals and their things like that, it'll all go away, and then we will be the ruling class. There will be nobody left that knows the information that we know, and voila, we win the game, kind of thing. Am I wrong? That's my question.
It's all, everything's been about control. So, I think that's what I mean. I think that's all of, like right now with all the things going on in our politics and stuff, and about, covering the face and all of that stuff. It's the fight, because, the age of Aquarius, that's about humanitarianism. The Aquarius energy, what it brings together is community, humanitarianism, and it's an air sign. So, I mean, ever since we were getting into this serious air sign energy, now we have the face diapers going on and all this different interesting stuff. And it looks like literally that this is going to be the remembrance of a lot of these divine feminine attributes. People are going to become more conscious of the planet. They're going to become more conscious of communities and how they interact and how they thrive and how they can survive. I think that, like I said, all of this struggle is because of the breakthrough that's, I don't think, can be stopped. So this is about the return of the air element, and that is about communication and community, humanitarianism, enlightenment, new creations, new inventions, new ideas, new energy, new technology. All of this is going to be coming. And I think most of this is literally, it's this energy of this divine feminine energy coming back to the planet. And hopefully we can get it to balance for the first time ever. Balance the masculine and the feminine, because you don't quash the masculine when the feminine comes into its return. That's the opposite of what needs to happen. We need to embrace both, because they work together, and that's what we need to learn, how to truly work together with the unseen and the seen world, how we can balance both of those worlds on this earthly dimension that we're on.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. It's that balance. You can't have too much feminine and you can't have too much masculine, or you override each other. And I think for the longest time we had a lot of masculine going on. Or
it's all we've had for thousands of years, couple thousand years, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
2600, I think. But let me, before I forget, if I may, understand, going back to your original question there, Robert, about what, breaking down the native tribes. Well, from the white man's point of view, and it wasn't only the native folk, but it was also the black non-indigenous people to the Americas, because there's a lot of documentation if you want to look for it. I did some research on a play we were doing, and anyway, I had to play this aristocrat from from the islands who were bringing slaves up here and selling them. So anyway, but the idea was that, so in order to break the chain, that they would a white man would mate with the black woman, so they would have these mulattoed children, and only the mulattoed children could work in the house. Mammy, she could work in the kitchen, but when these younger folks grew up, they were the maids, and they were the greet people at the door, and it wasn't the darkies. They stayed in the fields. Well, the same was with the Native Americans, because one way to break the bloodline was to kill off all the males, make all the women pregnant with male, with white men. And in that way, any subsequent, generations would therefore automatically be, tainted, if you were, or split. It's no longer that, that holy grail. And I know a friend of mine who was born in he was Lakota, and he said, I'm, half or something, and he married outside of the tribe, so his son was like a quarter or whatever, how they passed that out. But when his son turned 18, he was no longer allowed to be in the tribe. They kicked him out because of blood points. Wouldn't let him into the tribe council, wouldn't he? But because his father had more blood points than his son, and so we had talked about this over the many years, and because he would joke with me, he said, Dave, you just want to be you're a wannabe. You want to be an Indian. And I said, well, no, I want to learn what my traditions would be, because I already know what my grandmother and great grandmother and great great grandmother were. They were all Cherokee. So there is that in me, but I've not been raised in it. Do I want to be accepted into a tribe? Not necessarily, but I'd like to be able to go around people and be comfortable. So then a couple of years later, I asked him, how you doing? He goes, they threw my son out of the tribe. He said, I know a couple of years ago, I joked about you trying to be the wannabes and blah, blah, blah. He goes, now my son would, because of blood points, he can no longer participate in tribal affairs. He goes, that's just wrong. And I said, that's sort of what I've been talking about.
You know what's interesting, David? I've also seen, I think, the opposite of that happen as well. There's always, a lot of the Native Americans believe that the essence of grandmother would return at the end of time, at the end of days. And the one that they're saying that is the essence and the energy of grandmother is actually a white woman with no Native American bloodline.
Right. Now down here, there's the Lower Muskogee tribe that has a tribal council and the whole 9 yards. And then over, it's that little dip in Georgia just before you get to Jacksonville. But there's a Cherokee camp there, and it's a southern tribe of the Cherokee. And them folks are absolutely wonderful. And both places accept, because the Muskogee and also the Cherokee were, quote, infiltrated much earlier than the Western tribes. So they had, there were traditions that Georgia actually took from the Cherokee language and some of their traditions. And, some of the Cherokee actually lived in houses. They didn't live in teepees. I mean, and this was before the white man got here. Yeah. So we have this long tradition here in the South, but it's not near like it is out West. But the cultures are both the same, and they treat Mother Earth the same.
Yeah. You know what the most amazing thing is about what I was being taught about that prophecy about the white person that brought the corn to the nations. And when the Hopis chose their corn was the smallest corn, but it was multicolored. The other corns, one was white, one was yellow, one was blue. But then they had the multicolored corn, and it was much smaller than the other pieces of corn. And when they chose that corn, this being, which they say it looked like Jesus, so they said that this being told the Hopi people, they said, "You've chosen the best."
Hmm.
And they were like, "Thank you." And they were like, "Can you tell us why?" And he said, "Because of all the color, and
Yep.
because it's the smallest, but it has the most color, it means that it is still growing and developing, and it will have the most power and the most potential because it holds the different colors within it." I think the magic of all of this mixing and blending, people are so, dividing amongst people, bloodlines, tribes, beliefs, religions, all that stuff. We need to understand that we've been mixed so far beyond what we can even comprehend.
Right.
Like when I heard about the reptilians, and I'm like, "Oh, the reptilians, they're bad, and they must all want to eat humans, and la 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 la." And then that voice inside my head starts laughing and says, "My child, you don't know this, but you are reptilian." And I'm like, "What?" So it's like, and most of these people that do these genetic blood testing, if they have like a prejudice against a certain race or religion, it usually comes up in their genetics that they're part of that. So there's something to this, guys. I'm
Oh
telling you.
yeah. Yeah.
That I
Yeah.
think the more colors that you would have inside of you, you would be like that special corn. You would be the chosen because you have the greatest amount of diversity. So you have the gifts of multiple tribes. So this
Mhm.
streamlining of the bloodline, I think it's an absolute curse. That's why we're not allowed to have incest. It causes genetic problems. So all of this division of my God is better, my tribe is better, my color is better is crap. The truth is, the more you have, the better you are. That's what I've been shown over and over and over again. Unity is king. Division wrecks things.
Yeah.
Wrecks.
And I think also it has to do with the tradition that is brought down with the bloodline, if you will.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
that's what the white man wanted to do to the natives, but also when I did that in that looking into the how the slaves were treated, and that allotted was like a third versus a quarter, and they had all these breakdowns, and so the masters were, because they wanted a smart black person to be their slave, literally, um, that they would do these things, and then they would sleep with that one and get her pregnant. They had this stuff, like they had lines of this and studies done, and
Wow.
I was, and that was like in the 1600s.
Yeah,
Okay, we ain't talking about the days of the Civil War.
right.
So, but in that, so these folks were practicing this genocide or
Yes.
mixing or whatever. Now, to that point, I think their overall plan messed up. And here's why. Because as Trina said, there's so many of us are so mixed with who we are. If
Mm-hmm.
they thought they were going to get rid of us one way or the other, I think this mixed blood deal actually made us stronger in a way,
It's like a
versus,
mutt. It's
pardon?
like even in nature, a
Yes.
mutt is always a stronger animal. They have a longer lifespan. The more streamlined the genetics are with like these specialized dogs and puppies and stuff, they have chronic illnesses,
Yeah.
genetic problems, natural born defects. It, it,
Oh
it's
yeah.
it's crazy, and it's like literally the mutt is always stronger genetically than the purebred.
Yeah.
Yep. No,
Always.
Yep.
when
Yep.
when I studied with Kashka, the Tlingit tribe, he said, now consider, he was telling me about basics and background, and so he told me, he said, consider that in our nation of Tlingit there was A, B, C, and D. Okay, so but C and B could date and have children, but A and C couldn't. And if
Yes.
there was a child born, now for they had this worked out for thousands of years. that if two people got together from the wrong tribes, the baby was taken out on the ice and left.
Yep.
Because they had I said, it's cruel. I said, that's crazy. He said, but they understood you can't mix the lines. And he said, because if this had been a boy or a girl, then she could have had genes passed down from the wrong side that would, in the long run, could be some genetic deformity. So they were told by legends and through Great Spirit
Yeah.
not to do, but if you followed this rule, then your lineage, even though you could marry between the tribes or outside, but you just didn't mix, and wow, that's powerful. For 2 or 3 thousand years, they've known about this.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
who's the stupid one in this? But at the same time, we have to look at it and go, but where was the compassion? And he looked at me, and he was a mathematician, so he's very pragmatic. And he looked at me, he said, Dave, it's all about the numbers. He said, what if one got away and that infected 1,000 years down the road? He said, but as it is, our tribes are still intact, and so are our legends. But what if we had not followed that rule? And I was like, I don't know. He goes, we didn't want to try it. We didn't want to chance it. That's the way it was.
Wow.
But it was the numbers. So is it this one child that you save that could literally in the future doom your tribe or your nation? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, well, anyway, we learned a lot tonight, put it that way. And we are going to learn a lot when we read that book. And like I said, you can't learn all of history from reading one book, especially the Bible. There's history in there, and there's good and bad in there. And if you want to believe it or not, you can. You can't. I ain't going to say you shouldn't or you should, but it's interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
but you can't, you should read all the books. I mean, Wayne's a big one for putting out, reading all the books. Read this book. There's tons of them, and I said that I'm looking around, I'm thinking, where else could I get this information? And I'm thinking, well, there's the Indians. They had their own, creation stories and all of that. And so, me and David are going to do something on all of this, so you guys can all share in it and learn some. And we're going to go somewhere with this. Put it that way. If we can do a whole show just talking about this stuff, it's going to be a great series. And like it says, everybody and anybody, or if we can get somebody on who wants to help out, read some stories too, that would be great. I'm going to try to type them all up so that I can share them with all of you. Things like that. It is going to be a good thing. I think it's going to be very interesting. If anybody knows of a Indian person that wants to come on and share some crazy, wild myths and knowledge and legends and shaman basics too, you come right on and let them know and send me their email or get in touch with me somehow. We'll put it that way. It'll be good.
Story time with Rob and Dave.
Yeah, that's it. But anyway, I got some. So this is like it'll be our last Saturday show of the year. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you realized something? No? What was our first show of the year?
When was that?
Well, what was the first show I put on?
In memory of Brian?
And who did we have on?
Wayne?
No, we did the one I had on. I had David on. Remember, we called.
Oh, that's right. It was you, me, and David. That's right.
Oh, that's right.
That's
wow.
right.
Isn't that
So-
crazy?
We're sort of ending the show with
With the beginning.
Oh my gosh! See, I just got
amazing.
that. I was sitting here and I'm looking at that. And I'm cracking a smile and I'm thinking,
wild. Wow.
wow, the first show we did, we got you on, David, and now I'm sitting here, and this is the last show we're doing of the year, at least on Saturday, unless I get somebody else before the new year. And you're on with us to end the year off. How synchronous is that? See, Brian
Yeah,
is watching. He
absolutely.
is sinking. Brian, I know you're out there somewhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He
You know, and
is.
it's about, I've always been told that this was a living library, and it was one of the only places in the universe that so many things could come together to create new things.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's so many different ways that you can look at this, but I know from all of the wisdom I've ever gotten, it's like things that aren't supposed to work out, if nature is running the show, it won't.
Yeah.
If you're artificially doing stuff, you can make stuff go together that shouldn't be going together, but
Yeah.
not nature. Nature knows.
It
So
does. I mean,
yeah,
I could,
they
the
showed
way
me
things,
this was the
yeah.
only place that all these different species and plants and things could come together and naturally blend, and some of them wouldn't blend. But
Mm-hmm.
in nature, if nature was doing the magic, it would work out exactly as it should, and it would be strong, and it would be a new creation because of the new introduction of the new blending of the new lines of creation. So there's so many different ways to look at these things, but I do know that division divides us all, and it puts us in divide you all. It divides us. It makes you divided. I think now we've really got to focus on the strengths of us with all of our differences, all of our colors, all of our beliefs, all of our ways coming together so we can be the strongest support for each other with all of our differences.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
So I'm
from the card standpoint, to kind of um, how do I look at the end of this year? I feel just like that snake card that kept pulling up. I'm
shedding
shedding
this.
my old skin,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of, don't know how much longer I'm going to get, or but I can't move forward without shedding this year. Now it doesn't mean that I forget what I've learned. That's
Mhm.
different. But also to what you were saying, Trina, about about if nature says it so, then it works out better, which means that you go at a turtle's pace, you
Yeah.
know, which it showed up in the card. So I kind of wanted to like point that out. You're talking about turtle here, you
Yeah.
know.
I love it.
Uh,
Yes.
you
Uh-huh.
know, so it's like sometimes when I pick the cards, I just amaze myself to no end. But it keeps showing up in the message we want to portray for the end of this year. It's been a trying year. We've lost some good friends. We've lost some bad friends. We've lost other people too. But I've
Yeah.
lost several people in my life, including Brian.
Yeah.
And it's like the way that we keep their memory is we smile when we think about them, and we
Yeah.
honor them with that smile and that positive thought. Because if we're like, oh, I miss him, oh, or some of my friends I'm thinking of, oh, they're gone, what am I going to do? That don't work, and they would not want that, and it's bad for the universe. And so we have had the honor of knowing these people, and that's what we keep. We move on with anything that is holding us back by grief or something like that. We honor them by honoring them with a smile and making a breakfast one day. The Chinese do have special days where they make tidbits and light a candle. The Mexicans do this. It's the day after Halloween. They offer the spirits something because that's how we remember them. So in this year, the end of this year, let's take all the crap that has come into our lives and let's think about honoring this new year. And it starts now, right? It don't have to be the first, but and the Chinese, they're a little later than that. But in this new paradigm and thought, we take with it, then let's offer something to the spirits, light a candle. And
Yeah.
if you like
Light a
oatmeal
candle.
cookies, then offer them a glass of milk and a cookie. So, but by doing so, you'll be honoring yourself, the universe, and the person you're doing the candle for. So, but anyway,
I got my
You
candle.
know, it's so funny too, what I keep hearing. You know how a lot of the cannabis is going recreational in a lot of states? I literally keep hearing plant the seeds, get this stuff going back through nature again, start planting everything, and only if it's legal, of course, in your state. But I just keep hearing, for whatever reason, that this is going to be a very important step of healing nature, is putting this back into nature. I have a feeling that this was an important medicine our animals have been missing and needing.
Absolutely. Well,
Yep.
there, just for FYI, and I'll keep this short, the local farmers have changed their farming styles, and that seems to be changing back. Talking with some of these local farmers, but they used to leave strips of land on either side of the fence row, and rabbits lived there and all kind. Now they have killed the fence rows in all the farms, so there aren't any dove. There are no natural quail around here anymore. I mean, it's decimated. But there are people who are understanding the necessity of leaving that little strip of land along the fence now. You know,
Yes.
it's gone full circle. I don't know if the quail will ever come back here. But there used to be coveys of quail everywhere. But let's pray for that Mother Nature will put back what needs to,
Yeah. That's kind
should
of
have
the
never left,
energy. Yeah, that was the energy that I was feeling. It's like, return the things that were taken, that were natural. Weeds are natural. I hate to say it, weeds grow everywhere. So that was just like an analogy for putting things back the way that they were in nature before we did a lot of changing of things. I just think
Yeah.
it's really important to do what you can to give nature
absolutely.
something back to her that more is in resonance with what she would be if she was left alone.
Well, and that's exactly it. The farmers used to manage the land, and now they need to get every penny out of the land, and it's all become a money thing instead of,
And that's
like you
not the
said,
way.
leaving
Yeah.
that little strip for the animals, and that's all they needed. And now you're taking that away because you're saying, I need all of this because I need to,
Yeah, and I think
greed.
maybe we'll get a little bit smarter and make those strips of land on those fence lines a little bit wider and a little bit wider.
Mm-hmm.
Leave more for nature and use less for us.
Yeah, because it hurts us in the long run. It's the balance.
Correct. Correct.
You get everything out of whack, and then it's gonna come back.
Correct.
All your
We
crops don't grow.
Got to get some balance.
Yeah, and if we don't do it, Mother Nature will come in and do it for us.
Oh yeah, she will.
And that's what we started out with. Mother Nature in that first
Yeah.
card, the turtle is
Don't mess off Mama.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, with that, we've been going a little long in the tooth, but here we are, and it's been a good ride and a good show. And thanks, David, for coming on. I can't believe you were the first guy, and here you are, the last guy of the year. And we've had a good run. We've had everybody show up, and I want to say thanks to everybody who showed up tonight. There's a bunch of you in the chat room, and thanks for coming. I love you all from the bottom of my heart, and off to all of you. Thank you. Thank you for a great year. Thank you for all becoming my friend, sending me the great emails. I hope next year will be better than ever. We're going to try to, have better, well, I shouldn't say better guests because we already have the best guests. But we're going to have more.
I was so funny. All I could say is, oh my goodness, 2020 is almost done. Thank God, because we're ready for 2021.
That's right. But we're going to have, we want to have better things happen. We're going to have new people on. I want to get you people on. Don't be afraid. Come on. I don't bite, not through the screen there, and just come on, we'll do something. Yeah. Just say hi, even, just write me an email, say, hey, you want to come on for a few minutes? If you know how to read cards, come on, read your card. Hey, Darth can do it. Amber did it. David did it. There's lots. Omi came on, she reads cards. Trina, you've read the cards. And you know, so if you know how to read cards, come on and read a card for everybody. It's great. It's a good thing. We're gonna get Julianne Payne on some more to do more spelling, so we learn more that way. I got Gaza Cav coming on. He's gonna teach us about some vegetable stuff. I want to get Giant on some more. He is just full of information.
Yeah.
Me and David are gonna do the book. 2021 is going to be really great. I want to get everybody else on. I had this really good conversation the other night. If you didn't see the show, it was quite long, 2.5 hours for that Christmas show. But
I just saw in chat David Castle. He just commented, "Crazy things happening this week. Keep your vibrations raised as much as possible." David,
absolutely.
I must agree with that. I'm feeling
Yes.
that too. So the next, I'm saying until probably anywhere from the 6th to 10th of January. There's a lot of energy right now brewing, guys. Keep the vibe high and keep focusing on seeing what you want to see in the reality. And if some news comes in that's shocking, scary, reactive, don't be reactive.
Yeah.
Just go be, you got to be the patience, the calm. You're going to need to support the people around you that may not have any idea like what's going on, what's happening, freaking out. You're going to have to be the calm in the storm. So I have a feeling that's a very high potential. So get ready, get grounded, be steady, be strong, and be the support for the world that they're going to need from you. It's going to come from you guys.
And remember that the weak shall inherit the earth.
Yeah.
The meek.
Meek.
And it doesn't mean that we're not strong. It just means that we'd rather not have war. But there is strength in that number. There are much more of us than there are of them. So keep the faith. And I agree with David and with you, Trina. And as I've always said, you know, with these waves of energy, get inside your inner tube and just float along with the waves.
Yeah,
you know, just ride it out. You know, you got to ride it out. And but also the message tonight also was don't panic.
Yes.
Don't panic. That sums it up. Don't panic.
Yep.
Yes. And
have faith.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Trina.
I always say, be the frequency you want to receive.
And I love you all.
Love you all.
Love everybody. Cheers.